at repackaging fragile products and keeping liquid products in their original containers. Mercury should be removed or recovered from waste of mercury-added products. Removed or recovered mercury should be treated as waste consisting of mercury, and the remaining waste should be treated as waste contaminated with mercury. If part of the remaining waste is not contaminated with mercury, they could be used as recyclable materials. The mercury recovery process includes pre-treatment, thermal treatment, and purification. It is important to minimize mercury emissions and releases from the mercury recovery process through employing closed system for facilities, operating the process under reduced pressure, and capturing mercury in exhaust gas and wastewater. The following 3 slides summarize major points for the management of waste contaminated with mercury or mercury compounds. Waste contaminated with mercury or mercury compounds should not be mixed with other waste for appropriate and effective treatment. Additional guidance on storage of liquid waste include that containers should be placed in containment trays or curved leak-proof areas, and that the liquid containment volume should be at least 125% of the maximum limit liquid waste volume. Additional guidance on solid waste includes that if the waste are contaminated with volatile mercury or mercury compounds, they should be stored in sealed containers. For removing or recovering mercury from waste contaminated with mercury or mercury compounds, the same guidance for waste of mercury-added products is applied. For liquid waste, mercury could be captured through chemical oxidation, chemical precipitation, or adsorption. As pre-treatment of sludge for mercury removal or recovery, dewatering is necessary. The TG provides information on other treatment options such as sulfur microcement, soil washing, and acid extraction. Waste that meet the acceptance criteria for specially engineered landfills may be disposed of in specially engineered landfills. If you are interested in examples of landfill acceptance criteria for waste contaminated with mercury, please see boxes 11 through 14 in the TG. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Kaoru. So, and she's here for responding to any questions. So, I will welcome any questions in the Q&A box. And while waiting, I would like to move to the next presentations on the resources from the Global Mercury Partnership. In this session, I would invite Imelda to for an introductory remark on Global Mercury Partnership, followed by Koji Ono of the Ministry of the Environment of Japan and the co-lead of the waste management area of the Global Mercury Partnership. And I think I will need to share the screen. So please hold on. So I will share this screen, and the Kaoru's presentation is available, will be available on the website, and I will move to this one. Imelda, please.
Thank you very much, Ezaku. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, all. First of all, I would like to thank very much the Minamata and Basel, Rotterdam, and Stockholm Secretariat for organizing this very interesting Minamata online. So my name is Imelda Dosu-Etui. I'm part of the Chemicals and Health branch of UNEP, where I support the coordination of the Global Mercury Partnership, but also I'm involved in the implementation of national action plans and Minamata initial assessment. So today I will give a brief overview of the Global Mercury Partnership, including the most recent and upcoming events and activities before passing on to our colleagues from the waste management area to go through the more specific activities of the partnership area. So next slide, please. So briefly, the Global Mercury Partnership was initiated in 2005 by a decision of the UNEP Governing Council with an overall objective to protect human health and the environment from the emissions and releases of mercury. Specific priorities include the timely support and effective implementation of the Minamata Convention, the provision of knowledge and science on mercury, but also some outreach and awareness raising towards global action. So the Global Mercury Partnership is governed by its overarching framework, which was recently updated to reflect a number of evolutions, including the adoption and the entry into force of the Minamata Convention, as well as practices under the partnership. So to date, the partnership counts over 230 partners distributed among the 8 currently identified partnership areas that you can see on the screen. And these partnership areas include, of course, the waste management area. Also, the partnership is co-chaired by Mrs. Therapon Wiliwutikoen from Thailand and Mr. Rogers Ankla. Next slide, please. So in terms of recent and upcoming events and activities, I would quickly like to mention the recent webinar on Minamata initial assessment, which presented the latest trends and key findings of the data analysis of the mercury inventories. And this includes data on mercury waste management, but it also featured a discussion on the update of the mercury toolkit for the elaboration of those inventories. Also in September, I would like to highlight the annual meeting of the waste management area, which happened back to back with the International Solid Waste Association ISVA Congress in Singapore. But for this, I will let my colleague Koji Ono provide you with more details. Back in June, as well, under the Basel, Rotterdam, and Stockholm Convention, the COPs, we organized side event on mercury waste on the latest developments, tools, and practices for the environmentally sound management of mercury waste. And then we had the PAG, the Partnership Advisory Group meeting. It's held its 12th meeting back in March this year. Also, I would like to mention that the waste management area put a lot of effort into the update of its catalog on technologies and services on mercury waste management, but also succeed in creating 3 working groups, respectively, on resource development, capacity building, and awareness raising, and solution exchange. And here as well, my colleague will go through the specific activities of those working groups. In terms of cross-cutting work, I would like to mention the 2 study reports that the Global Mercury Partnership is working on. So the first one is about mercury from the metals mining and smelting, and the second one on mercury from the oil and gas sector. And in those reports as well, authors have already proposed an initial discussion on the management of waste resulting from these sectors. So the first report is already available on the Global Mercury Partnership website, and the second one is in its final stages for publication, so will be available soon. So you have on this slide the links to the events page of the Global Mercury Partnership website, and also the link to the resources. And last but not least, we are also organizing the 13 meetings of the UNEP Global Mercury Partnership Advisory Group, which will happen in November on the 9th and 10th of November, back to back with the OECD Global Forum on Environment in Paris, France. So you are welcome to attend as observers, as this meeting will also offer the possibility to attend remotely. So you'll find this information on the events page of the Global Mercury Partnership. So next slide, please, just to, yes. So this is just to remind our communication channels, so our emailings, the website, but also the newsletter that is published on a quarterly basis and is there to share any recent or upcoming activities, any key highlights, but also raise awareness and present new partners and available resources. So please feel free to share any relevant information you would like to circulate with the Global Mercury Partnership networks. I think this was my last slide. Next slide, please. Yes, thank you very much. And I'm also happy to answer any questions, or please feel free to contact us, my colleague and myself, through email. And I also added the link to the global page of Global Mercury Partnership. Thank you very much. And I'll pass on to my colleague, Mr. Ono. Thank you.
Thank you, Imelda. So, Koji, please.
Good morning, good
Yes.
afternoon, and good evening, everyone. My name is Koji Ono from Ministry of the Environment, Japan, and I am a co-lead of the waste management area with Professor Misuza Asari from Kyoto University. Thank you very much, Eisaku and Secretariat, for setting this online session. And thank you, Imelda, for the introduction of Global Mercury Partnership overviews and partnership activities. Now, I will talk about some details of waste management areas activities. So next slide, please. Next slide, please. Global Mercury Partnership comprises 8 areas as shown this slide. Some areas are focusing on specific industries like cement and chloroalkali production, and others are focusing on the processes of mercury treatment. Waste management area is one of these areas, and pursuing the environmentally sound management of mercury waste. The next slide, please. And this slide shows the key activities of the mercury waste management area. And many of these are same as Imelda's introduction. Our most recent activity was this session at the ISWA World Congress just 2 weeks ago. In this session, we introduced practical information on mercury waste management and activities on mercury waste management area. We also had the area meeting last month and shared information on recent activities and discussed the next work plans of each working group. The next slide, please. Okay, these are a bit older information, but for example, we have had a joint session with the other area, chloroalkali production, in order to assess technical needs. And next slide, please. Thank you. And we are developing 3 years activity plan to 22 to 2024. And according to the needs survey conducted in 2021, we found there were a bunch of challenges among our partners for environmentally sound management of mercury waste. For example, at most challenge is management of wastes containing mercury, especially waste of fluorescent lights and measuring devices. And other things that supports on capacity building, technical assistance, regulatory arrangements, and development of guidance are requested to the waste management area. You can find the specific information of the results of needs survey from this link. In order to meet these needs, we are proceeding the activities in three important parts. And the next slide, please. We already have set up three working groups. Working group 1 focuses on resource development. Here, we are now trying to compile fact sheet on the mercury waste management. I will explain why we propose to work on the development of fact sheets right after this slide. Working Group 2 is about capacity building and awareness raising. The activities of Working Group 2 are, for example, to hold a webinar and workshop with specific sectors and stakeholders and compiling good practices on mercury waste management. Working Group 3 aims to provide solutions by matchmaking between stakeholders in needs and experts or solution providers. Next slide, please. So, fact sheets. As I just mentioned, we are trying to develop fact sheets. Despite all the guidelines and tools currently existing on the environmentally sound management of mercury waste, there are still concerns from stakeholders, specifically in developing countries. Fact sheets could be the right tool to gather all relevant information in a user-friendly way in order to realize safely management of relevant mercury waste stream. Next slide, please. The findings from the Global Mercury Partnership Waste Management Area Survey highlight the fact that there are still obstacles to the environmentally sound management of mercury waste, whatever is the type of mercury waste. And the next slide, please. And our area and the ISWA working group on hazardous waste joined forces in order to co-authoring fact sheets, and the preliminary work is now finished. The roadmap framing the processes for the development of fact sheets and the fact sheets template identifying all steps to be covered for environmentally sound management of mercury waste streams and the priority list of mercury waste streams. And the next slide, please. Based on our survey and the poll concluded that, next slide, please. The top one priority was non-electronic measuring devices. That result is consistent with the Minamata Convention initial assessments. And next slide, please. There are expectations for environmentally sound management of mercury waste streams, so all items of concern will be covered in the fact sheets. Information should be presented in a way to be understandable and usable by both experts and non-experts, and consistent with the technical guidelines and available in several languages such as English, French, and Spanish. The next slide, please. Finally, we have developed a catalog of technologies and services of mercury waste management. This catalog includes information about 12 partners which hold technologies to treat different types of mercury wastes. This is available at the link here. And the last slides. Thank you. There are the 12 partners listed in the catalog shown here. And this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Koji. So First, apologies that I think I said that this session is 90 minutes, but in fact it is 60 minutes. So we only have 6 minutes. So sorry for the bad handling of this session, but it's good that we have at least some time for Q&A. And as I was looking at the Q&A box, we received 2 questions in Q&A box, but I note that there are some yes, the 3 questions actually, I think. But I know that there are questions in the chat box, so I think uh, uh, I um, I would welcome any of the panelists to address these questions. Firstly, I think I will address the interesting question of in the chat box from Terence Thompson about the medical waste, and is there a threshold for or, uh, mercury contaminated medical waste, healthcare waste, and the as the response from the Minamata Secretariat is not at present, but because the expert group is still working on the type C threshold, which is the waste contaminated with mercury. But it should be noted that the healthcare sector may come up with all 3 types of the mercury waste, the mercury consistent mercury, perhaps from dental offices, if they mix mercury with powders, then and if they have mercury unused stocks of mercury in dental office, then it may become a mercury waste consisting of mercury, and the mercury added products like thermometers and sphygmomanometers and also vaccines and dental amalgam, these may be after it is end of life, these will be mercury containing the waste containing mercury and mercury compounds. For it is true that some in some improper management practice, mercury added products may be mixed with some waste, including infectious waste. So this may be that with as a waste contaminated with mercury, for which threshold is still being uh, uh, considered. But in terms of the waste management practice of these medical or healthcare waste, I would welcome any input from the expert. Kaoru, do you have any advice about the healthcare waste?
Everyone, thank you for participating in this session. And as for the healthcare waste, as ASAC explained, that there was no threshold value for the waste contaminated with mercury, or actually if the healthcare waste is waste of mercury added products, they are considered as all the waste of mercury added products are mercury waste under the Minamata Convention. And as we have another question about Terence Thompson about the broken mercury added thermometers to be thrown into infectious waste bins. Unfortunately, the technical guidelines does not give specific guidance on how to manage such waste, because the TG recommends to separate or do not mix mercury waste with other waste. But if the infectious waste are treated in the thermal treatment facilities, you can refer to the section reduction of mercury releases from thermal treatment facilities and landfills. So that's for all for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaoru. We only have 1 minute, but please if possible, I would like to extend 2 or 3 minutes to respond to as many questions as possible. And I would like to turn to Koji. The question from Jason Christie in the Q&A box, which is, will development of the draft HG waste sources include for oil and gas?
Sorry, I didn't find the questions.
Yeah, it is in the Q&A box, and will development of the draft mercury waste sources include for oil and gas? And I think this refers to the activities of the Global Mercury Partnership. So whether the Global Mercury Partnership will work on the oil and gas sector, the waste from oil and gas.
Okay, thank you very much, Jason, for the question. So we are trying to collaborate with the other areas, and including the oil and gas industry. So we are now try to develop the waste management information, including the oil and gas industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Koji. And since we have been recommending to use the Q&A box, although it seems that some of you may have not been able to find one. I think I will pick up the last question in the Q&A box, which is from Elena Limberidi, about the waste, and I think what she means is that the first thing is to stop using maps, and the and then collect separately, and the how a country can prioritize which map waste collect disposal as resources, since the resources are limited. And I think this is exactly what the guideline says. The starting with the waste minimization and the segregating and so on. But Kaoru, if you like to touch upon this, it would be great.
Sorry, I couldn't catch the question. Could you repeat?
Yes. Yeah. The question is, does the guidance cover the not using the mercury products in the first place, and also the collection, separate collection, and also prioritization of mercury waste types?
Okay. No, I'm not quite sure the prioritization of mercury waste types, but the other two questions. The technical guidelines provides the how to promote the conversion or using the mercury-free products, such as promoting the public procurement system to prioritize mercury-free products compared to the mercury added products. That's one of the options to promote to promote the use of mercury-free products. And also the technical guidelines provides a specific method how to separate the mercury added products from other waste. As I mentioned in the slide, there are several ways to collect separately the mercury added products. And also labeling is very important. So the technical guidelines indicate the specific guidance on the labeling on mercury added products. Thank you.
And thank you, Kaoru. And the third point about prioritization may be a policy issue rather than a technical issues, and perhaps it would. I know that the developing countries would appreciate advice on how the policy prioritizations could be considered conducted. So it is 10 now. So I think we need to close. We captured all the questions in the chat box, and we will try to address these questions in the training materials. As I chatted in the chat box, if you have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to send them to me. So I think my closing remarks would be that we would welcome your questions and input for the further rollout of the of the project. I will share the screen. I've shared my last slide. Please ask questions and to contribute to this process. So with this, I would like to close the morning session. Thank you very much for your participation, and we look forward to receiving your input further. Thank you very much and have a nice day.